All right, now we're moving on to edges. So something important about edges with gouache is, just cleaning off my brush here, is that there's a couple ways to make edges and to soften edges. But the easiest way to create a really soft edge is to just have it pre-planned in your head so that when you're starting, you can do it from the beginning. So I'm going to just do a quick sunset piece here. So I've got the sun, it's kind of creating this softer glowing edge. I'm going to go over here so I can really get it saturated. First, let me just indicate a few things on here. I want to focus on the sky with this and maybe a couple of these trees. And then we've got the sun coming through, making this really nice bright spot. I'm not going to outline the trees too much because I'm going to be doing a wash over the top of this. So the trees will be more visible because I'm not going to be using the opaque paint. I'm going to have more water in it. And then I like this kind of section of water coming down through here. You've got that reflection. Maybe the bigger bush. Okay, so I have kind of a general thing laid out now. So for this area of where the sun is at, if I come around with my wet paint just up against this edge and leave it, then I'm going to create a hard edge, right? Just same as watercolor if you were laying it in. But I kind of want to create more of a soft edge with this. So there's a few options. The easiest one would be to come in with water right now and kind of pull out and soften this area. That would be the easiest option, especially if you're doing clouds or something. You want to make sure that you're kind of pulling out when you get the sky initially in. Another thing you could do is if you already have an area that's starting to dry and you want to like wet it so that you can fix the edge, you can spray. The inconvenient thing about this would be that if you have trees already painted in and things already happening and then you spray it, it reactivates everything that's going on. So it works if you're just trying to reactivate an area briefly that's small that you've painted that you don't care if it's mixing with other things on the side. But if I had my trees already in and sprayed, it would reactivate those, and then all the edges in my trees would all blur as well. So let me show you here. Let's say we get really into this with the kind of fiery look. Get some more opaque paint around here. Kind of pull out with my brush there. So I'm getting that soft edge kind of around my sun. So this whole area is wet, so I'm able to just work into it. So this up here is starting to dry, so I'm just going to spray that, reactivate it, get it wet as well. I love these smoky kind of sunsets. They do some really cool things with color. Unfortunately, they're not great for the environment, but they're beautiful. So I've kind of got this whole kind of mess going on here. I'm going to get a bigger brush, come in, and I'm just going to blend this in a little bit more. So I'm kind of alternating between vertical strokes and some horizontal strokes to really blend this together. You can see down here, see how this is dried kind of quickly. I'm just going to spray that. I'm going to reactivate it. And then I can pull my sky down into that and blend it. Now I've activated this as well, so I've got to pull my sun back out. And you can see kind of the spray marks that happen up here. So that's the disadvantage of the spray bottle, is you're going to get more of a variety in that way. But I actually don't mind it with this piece because I'm showing kind of that smoky particles in the air feel. So while this area is slightly wet and starting to dry a little bit, I'm going to pull in some trees, especially where they're coming close to my sun, because that's when I'm going to get those kind of intense soft edges. It's right through here. So now that it's drying a little bit, you can see I'm getting a crisper edge here. So another way to create an edge, a softer edge, is to just do a value transition. So if I don't want to wet everything again, I can just do this lighter value. And then I can create even a lighter value. And then I can come in with my darker value and let it kind of melt into these lighter values. And that'll kind of create a natural soft edge, even though it's still a hard edge between these two, but it's creating this softer transition because the values are coming closer together. I'm just noticing that these are all the same height. So I'm going to pull this one up because I kind of want that symmetrical feeling here. With this composition. And then I'm going to just have these kind of lower. And then pull this one kind of skinny and up tall. So I'm still throwing things off balance, even though I've got this focal point kind of coming in down the center. So you can see I'm just dropping in some color into this tree. And because it's still wet, it's creating a bit of color variety, but it's not so wet that it's spreading out everywhere, which I love to kind of use that to create some textures while still having a soft edge. But if I come in here, it's a lot drier, so I'm going to get more of that crisp edge going on. I'm going to do a similar thing in here. I'm just going to pull this, some darks in here. And then I could get my spray bottle and I could spray really close to this, or I could just get my round and kind of just wet this area and reactivate it with the water. So you can see this kind of feeling of a soft edge going on here. I'm going to break it up with a little bit of a hard edge in some spots because I don't want the whole tree to be soft. I'm going to do a little trunk down here on this one.